Welcome to Nutrition and Fitness 101, where we'll delve into some great nutrition topics. And tonight we're going to talk about our avatar, who is a frustrated female of any age. And let's get right into it. So, we've got this frustrated female, put your age in there if you're one of them, who is being incredibly diligent with their calories. It's a new year, new start, looking to make some changes. Perhaps they want to reduce body fat. Perhaps, hopefully, they want to improve their health. They might have some chronic diseases they're dealing with. They might have a medical provider who said, you've got to have some lifestyle changes. Lifestyle changes always incorporate healthy eating and exercise. What the heck does that mean? And so she's really being diligent with her calories, whatever she thinks that might mean. She's being super committed to her exercise, whatever that might mean. And she is telling me, Mama G, that the scale is not moving and she's incredibly frustrated. So we have got to delve into why that's happening. And we're going to go straight back to the concept. And I'll share this right now with you guys. Where is my screen share? Okay. Well, this is Joe Avatar, frustrated Joe, who thinks he can out-train a bad diet. Well, I've got a great case study that we'll be discussing in the next couple of weeks regarding Joe Avatar in his mid-50s and how this looked and played out for him. But I want to delve into the fact that calorie balance matters big time. And for the majority of our clients, the majority of human beings on this earth who are living, guess what? They want to lose weight. They have this concept in their head about skinny and what that means and how I used to weigh this and my life looked like that, and that's what they're looking for. But in order to have that weight loss occur, there's got to be a negative calorie balance. And we're going to dip into this really good here in a moment. It's a good apropos weekend because this weekend, Samantha Bee, outside of her studio on Sunday, brought in a DEXA van, which is not DEXA as in the DXA, where we're looking at bone density, but DEXA, where we're looking at body composition, very similar machine. And it helps our clients have another metric to see what their body composition might look like, where they're holding lean tissue mass versus body fat, etc. And so it's a useful tool, but sometimes it gets people really worked up when they see that percentage of body fat, or that they might carry a lot of fat around their midsection or around their hips or whatever. It really flushes out all the details, but it is a parameter, like getting on the scale every week, like taking your measurements, like trying out a piece of article of clothing so that we know when we start this venture, because it's not an easy venture. So you want to have parameters that you can look at through the course of time to go, oh man, there's a win there, and oh, there's another win there, and see all these little efforts that I'm making are getting me towards my goal, which is hopefully to lead a long, healthy, independent life, along with potentially losing from body fat, getting stronger, being able to live the life that you have pictured for yourself at this point in time and into your future. So calories matter all day long. There's lots of pills and potions and diet plans and approaches out there that can help you reduce calories in your life. But what they do is they also bring a lot of negativity, and they're really prohibitive, right? We're restricting food groups. We're restricting when you can eat. There's all kinds of approaches out there. But the bottom line is we need to have a calorie deficit across our little teeter-totter there. And in the Mama G world, we're going to talk about why you cannot restrict your calories too much. It's punitive. It causes your body to use metabolic pathways that are harmful. It drives disordered eating. It doesn't allow you to consume enough nutrients to allow your body to work properly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the calories are important. The food aspect is important. And that's why you might want to consider working with Mama G in the experiment 2.0, which really delves into all the lessons on how to do that with your nutrition and food, along with Samantha B on the fitness side of that. But until then, you got to take responsibility for what you're putting in your mouth and how you're moving that body, because what's on the right side of this scale matter a whole bunch. So what our DEXA participants learned yesterday when they got onto that machine was that their bodies have what we call a resting metabolic rate, which means that your body will burn a certain number of calories just to exist. So you can get in your bed, lay there, do nothing, and you will burn a certain number of calories. Now, in Mama G's world, this is anecdotally with her particular clients, and I've seen hundreds of clients over the years, is that the majority of female clients are going to sit at a resting metabolic rate at about 1,200 calories. Well, that's all good and fine, except for the fact that Mama G wants you to eat more calories than that in order to get the nutrition and the fuel that you need to go about your day. So it's really problematic that our resting metabolic rate is already sitting below our calorie needs for the day just to, get the nutrients we need. Add in these activity levels, which is the green bar there, which is really your activities of daily living. So that is your moving about your house, going up and down stairs at work, walking from the parking lot to the grocery store, taking your dogs for a walk, whatever, running after children, running after grandchildren, crawling after grandchildren, whatever that looks like in your life, that's your normal. And we really encourage you, Jane, frustrated female, to be more active in your everyday life. We're not talking about calculated exercise. You cannot sit around. Those sit and stand desks, they exist for a reason, because the old adage of sitting is the new smoking is true. The more we sit, the more inactive we are, the more unhealthy lifestyle that we lead. So standing on a regular basis is really important. Moving more, parking farther away, taking the stairs, being more, walking your animals. Your dogs deserve to be walked. They need ticker to get activity. You need ticker to get activity. You need to walk those dogs. You need to participate with activities with your kids, with your senior parents. You need to get everybody moving. So activities of daily living will help to increase your calorie load, which this kind of balance you out, starts you at homeostasis for an individual who simply wants to maintain. So we talk about, certain calorie amount, which we'll talk about in a moment, for a female who's inactive. Now, I didn't say didn't have activities of daily living, but they've got the resting metabolic rate. They've got these activity of daily living. That's just to stay at homeostasis, not lose any weight, aka body fat, right? That's what we want to lose. We don't want to lose muscle. We don't want to lose water weight. We don't want to lose bone mass. We want to lose fat mass. So now we're sitting in homeostasis. You're eating a certain number of calories. You're not really doing much activity. And you're like, well, Mama G, how am I going to achieve my goal of reducing my body fat? And this is where exercise comes in. This is no joke. Body fat is critical, paramount to your incorporating regular exercise into your life. And I cannot communicate more effectively how important that would be for you. Let me see if I have this little graph on here. And if I don't, I will be sure to attach the link for you on this this webinar for you. But we need to be moving for at least 150 minutes of moderate activity a day. That is just getting outside, increasing your heart rate, right? To burn calories, it's not necessarily outside. Sorry for those of you who don't live in beautiful California 12 months of the year, but it's getting some activity where your heart rate is above your normal hanging out activity, so we can pump some blood through your lungs and hearts and get the body moving and improve your fitness level and burn some extra calories, all right? Exercise is critical, and that exercise is hopefully a compilation of what Samantha Bee calls her fitness macros, which are calories that are burned through cardiovascular exercise, right? Getting that heart rate up to some capacity over your normal, hanging around, walking around the house, some mobility where you're moving every single joint in your body, and our strength training, whatever that might look like for your aspect of life right now and your goals in the future. So negative calorie balance will only happen with calculated exercise in your life. I hate to tell you that, but it's a fact. So let's look at what it takes to gain weight. Now, we do have some clients in the Mama G lifestyle who need to gain weight. They're typically females. They're typically females 50 and above who are smaller framed, who are inactive, and are at risk for all kinds of lifestyle diseases, but most importantly, osteopenia and osteoporosis, which is the loss of muscle mass, and sarcopenia, the loss of lean tissue mass, muscle, which is so incredibly dangerous. Nobody talks about it except for Mama G, but we've got to take responsibility for being underweight, because God forbid famine occurs, disease, being in a food desert. Yes, we have people here in the United States in that scenario where they don't have adequate food supplies, an accident, a surgery, whatever happens in your life, if you don't have some reserve, you're screwed. So we really talked about certain clients about gaining muscle and bone mass and potentially some fat mass to help them have those reserves to protect them in need when they're in need. And God forbid, unfortunately, they will be in need at some point in their life. The goal obviously is homeostasis, finding that happy place, which is where Mama G sits right now. Thank you very much. At almost 57 years of age, I have found my happy sweet spot with the amount of calories I take in, which varies from day to day depending on my activity level. But I've got everything dialed in terms of my, resting metabolic rate being a little higher than the majority of women out there because of my higher muscle mass. I'm very, very active, so that pushes my calorie expenditure up just in terms of my activities of daily living. And then I have a very strict exercise regime right now. I'm training for a half marathon. Don't be thinking that I'm running a ton, because I only run 2 days a week, but I do lots of other things in there, including mobility and strength 2 days a week, as well as some low intensity and moderate intensity cardiovascular activities as well. But let's get right down to the down and dirty in terms of some realistic stuff for a frustrated female of any age. The fact that her resting metabolic rate is likely sitting around 1,200 calories, give or take 100 calories in either direction. So step one, owning it. All right. It is an unfortunate fact of life. There is little we can do to fix that, other than, like Mama G said, in terms of her being able to fix that, is to increase your muscle mass, which, takes time, effort, diligence, and a commitment, but I highly recommend it. 2, being more active throughout your day in general. For some people, it takes a lot of forethought. For other people, it's just a natural habit that they're in. And thirdly, we have got to consider that added on. Well, that's it. That's the only way that we can really, increase that resting metabolic rate, and then adding on increased muscle mass. We do know that certain activities well, I'm not going to even go there. I was going to say that we've got some extra calorie burn when we do certain types of exercises, but when we talk about resting metabolic rate, stay focused, Mama G. That is yours. And the only way to adjust that is to increase your lean tissue mass, your muscle mass, period. Secondly, in Mom G world, and hopefully in your world, I do not want any client, male, female, period, to ever eat under 1,500 calories because pretty much it's impossible to get in all of the food groups and nutrients needed to allow all your bodily processes to focus, yes, and function normally. Oh. You can hear Mama G's energy is constantly burning calories. So now we have a problem because we're already having to utilize about 300 calories of activities of daily living, hopefully, just to get us to homeostasis so we can maintain our situation. All right, now let's do a little math. This is called a sixth grade math, which everybody out there should be able to do. And that is the fact that in order to burn through 1 pound of body fat, you must utilize 3,500 calories. 500 calories right there. I will tell you this, for people who have cheat days, you can consume over 3,500 calories in a cheat day and gain 1 pound or lay down 1 pound of body fat. So that is why in the Mama G lifestyle, we don't have cheat days, cheat weeks. We have a treat or a splurge on occasion. And it just is what it is. We enjoy something and then it's over. We get back to our normal, healthful eating and exercise habits. So if frustrated female of any age would like to lose 1 pound of body fat a week, by the way, frustrated female doesn't want to lose just 1 pound of body fat, but in all fairness and reality, frustrated female should be very happy with 1 pound of body fat because number one, that means that they are not in homeostasis. Number two, it means that they're not putting on fat. So this is a win-win situation to lose 1 pound of body fat. If you happen to lose a little bit more because you happen to be a little bit more active than normal, or you're doing a little more exercise than normal, good on you. But in all reality, 1 pound a week is what you're going to get, which means at the end of a year, that's 52 pounds. That's a big, monumentous feat and completely doable because you will not be deprived with eating 1,500 calories a day if you have scaffolding and a monitor and a mentor and supporters like you do with Mama G Samantha Bee and the Mama G private Facebook group if you're part of that. Otherwise, you've got us through our public social media sites, which is on Instagram, Mama G's Lifestyle, on Facebook, Mama G's Kitchen, and there is where we kind of guide you along the way. But if you want more in-depth information, the Experiment 2.0 might be for you with 24 lessons on nutrition and fitness to help guide you through bringing these healthy habits and lifestyle choices into your everyday being. Or you can work with Mama G on a private basis, like you would see a therapist or like you would have a personal trainer. But this would be in terms of you really dialing in your nutrition and potentially learning how to cook and shop and plan and prep and all of those things that are part of incorporating wholesome, healthy food into your life. Now, if a frustrated female of any age wants to lose 1 pound a week, she needs to be at a calorie deficit of 500 calories. So given the fact that we just talked about your resting metabolic rate sits at 1,200 calories, you need at least 1,500 calories adequately to get your nutrients in, hoping and praying and keeping your fingers crossed that your activities of daily living are about 300 calories so that we're at homeostasis. This now means that you need to have 500 calories a day of calculated exercise. Holy crud, Mama G, that sounds like a lot. So it's so interesting when you think about 500 calories of exercise seeming like holy crud, yet you could walk in the Starbucks, drink a little drink this much, it's 500 calories, it's consumed in 10 to 15 minutes, and that could be 500 calories. And what did you really get out of it? Maybe 2 minutes of pleasure when the end result is no longer homeostasis, increasing your fat, increasing your risk of heart disease and stroke and diabetes and colorectal cancers and us, all these lifestyle diseases? I don't know. So what the heck do we do now? So let's talk about the fact that we're needing to consume 1,500 calories a day, that our resting metabolic rate may be about 1,200 calories. So how many additional calories do I need to burn to actually end up with a 500 calorie deficit per day? Well, we talked about 300 calories of activities of daily living to maintain your weight. Let's hope you're moving that much. So, there are some good parameters to help us realize that. Number one, the scale is really useful as we get out on a weekly basis to kind of assess like how many calories we're eating. Are we getting enough activities of daily living? We can use monitors like my Apple Watch and Fitbits and lots of other devices out there that help you to assess what your energy output is in a day. But we can also go back down to really clear basics and just allow someone like Mama G and Samantha B to help you maneuver through that. But at the bottom line is that you ultimately, like we talked about, are going to have, after your resting metabolic rate, added to your activities of daily living, you are going to have to come up with 500 calories for the next 7 days to burn off 1 pound of body fat. And that's 7 days in a row. Wow, does that feel overwhelming? It feels overwhelming to me, and it has to feel overwhelming to you. So Mama G, what does frustrated female of any age do in this scenario? Well, number one, we take a deep breath. Number one, we understand that our primary goal in life should be to live a long, coordinated with healthy, coordinated with independent life. That means as we age, we want to be active. We want to be independent. And if we're active and independent, we sure the heck are going to be healthy individuals, which means we can take care of ourselves. We can maneuver through our lives, whatever stage we are in. So the other day, Mama G went hiking with a friend of hers who is 75 years of age. Now, I said to my friend, I want to be just like you when I grow up, because she's active, she takes care of herself, she goes on a lovely trip every year with activity with a best friend of hers where they always go hiking and camping, which I think is lovely. So I don't know what floats your boat, but I know for Mama G is that I have one beautiful 14-month-old granddaughter. I have 2 beautiful goddaughters who are little. I have 3 plus lovely grand nephews. Do I have mostly grand nephews? Yes, a couple grand nieces in there, but the boys might be winning. And I have the goal of living a very active lifestyle. So Mama G, AKA Grammy G, can actually get on the floor, play with her grandchildren, do everything anybody ever wants me to do, and never being able to say, oh, I'm not really capable of doing that. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fit enough. I'm not able enough. Not an option. We have lovely clients who have worked with us who we have seen dramatic changes at lots of ages. Mostly seniors, we see really wonderful changes. And we saw one in particular who is still with us now, who had a goal to maybe 3 years ago, it's been now, that she wanted, it was 2 years ago, that she wanted to be able to, number one, get up and down off of the ground by herself, late 50s, all right, avatar. Late 50 female, needed help, needed support to get up and down off the ground, and wanted to be able to just get from the ground up without having to hold on a chair, hold on to somebody to do that. Secondly, she had a goal within that next year to be able to ski that next winter with her grandchildren. And guess what? She completely executed both of those things. She is now strength training 3 days a week. This year, too, she just came back from a ski trip with her grandchildren as well. But she still has this goal of wanting to lose some body fat. Now, the reduction of body fat for her will improve her health. So we're not going to discount it. It will improve her psyche, and she will really appreciate, what she's capable of at the ripe age now of 60 years of age. But for this 60-year-old avatar of ours, she strength trains, she mobility trains, she eats beautifully on track with the calories we've suggested, but her activities of daily living needs to be increased. She needs to move more throughout the course of her day. And just as importantly, she needs to have regular, consistent, calculated cardiovascular exercise on a daily basis. And through the course of all of those activities, not only do we have a calorie burn that's happening with the exercises that we're talking about and with the lifestyle, but we actually have something we call afterburn, where there's extra calories being burned because we rev up our metabolism. And this is really the perfect scenario for a frustrated female of any age. We'll talk about another frustrated female who had significant health issues, rheumatoid arthritis, had to have shoulder surgeries, ended up having shoulder replacements, was sitting about 60, 70 pounds above where she needed to be, which meant that moving around on this arthritic body made things really difficult. She wasn't able to do the things she loved, like swim and walk and participate in social events and occasions. And with some due diligence, with appropriate health care, having shoulder replacements, having appropriate physical therapy, having appropriate support group, eating nutritious and delicious food on a daily basis, and going to the gym and moving more on a regular basis, that female avatar was able to reduce her weight by 68 pounds, come through 2 very significant shoulder replacement surgeries, and reverse all of the health decline that had happened to her. And she was 77 years of age. So there's no excuse for any of us. I know what your life looks like. I was raising 4 littles at one point in time. I couldn't see from behind me to in front of me or know what was going on at any point in time. I know that some of you work 12-hour shifts, 12-and-a-half-hour shifts, along with commute times. But I also know that you have days off. I also know how important it is for you to role model healthy behaviors to the people you love, which means you need to figure out how on your days off, on your quiet time, at lunch breaks, whatever that might look like in your life, for you to start incorporating more activities of daily living and to incorporate calculated exercise into your life. Unfortunately, it's 6th grade math. I cannot fudge the numbers. I cannot grab calories from the ether. I can't. And so it really comes down to you embracing the concept of the fact that we have to embrace energy balance depending on what your goal is in your life. And number 1, eat a calculated amount of nutrients, a calculated amount of calories, so that we have the nutrition for all of your bodily processes to work normally, which means that you're going to have more energy throughout your day, which means you're going to be able to be more active, which means you're going to be able to think more clearly. You're going to sleep better. Your gut's going to feel better. You're going to feel better all the way around, which means you are going to be able to have the wherewithal to now start to incorporate more exercise into your life on a daily basis. I have been known to get up as early as 4 in the morning to make sure that I could get in the food I needed, to be able to get in the exercise I needed to deal with the very busy, long day that was in front of me, so that I could check it off my list. Really critically important that you take your health seriously. You know that when you go to your doctor's office and they look under the hood and they review your results for your blood work, and they look at your blood pressure and all the other parameters that a medical professional can utilize to assess your health situation, that the number 1 thing that they're going to say to you is in order to improve your health, you have to change your lifestyle. And that lifestyle change begins with incorporating wholesome food into your life and exercise. And unfortunately, a lot of health professionals out there, while they're incredibly intelligent, incredibly well educated, they know nothing about how to incorporate those two aspects in your life. They might give you advice based on what they do for themselves, which is not necessarily the right thing for you, frustrated female avatar. And you need to make sure, well, obviously here, that you're reaching out to the experts that can help you, aka Mama G on the nutrition side, aka Samantha B on the exercise side, so we can hold your hand to help you live that long, healthy, independent life. But who does it start with first? You. It starts with you taking responsibility. It starts with you finding a friend to help you stay motivated. It starts with you looking at a healthy plate approach, trying to get in a majority of your lunches and dinners where you're eating half a plate of non-starchy veggies, a quarter plate of starches and grains, wholesome ones, a quarter plate of lean proteins, incorporating some healthy fats into there. For breakfast, making sure that you're looking at fruits and or vegetables for your sweet or savory breakfast, that you've got your starches and grains, again, whole grains, and that you've got those lean proteins. Don't forget the need for calcium in your life. Don't forget the need to hydrate on a regular basis. But within the Mama G lifestyle, whether you're following us on social media, where we will continue to motivate you to do that, or whether you come in and join us on Experiment 2.0, or whether you work with Mama G as a private client, we are here because we care about you, but it starts with you caring about you. Now, I don't think that I have any questions from anybody, so I'm going to give you a moment to unmute yourself if you have a specific question for me, and you can do that right on your screen. You could also type it into the chat bar. Here, I'll type in a little hi here. You could even say your name or say hi, and I will unmute you. But I'm hopeful this was useful for you. I encourage you to share this with your friends and family. I hear all the time. As a matter of fact, I did a little in-service for physical therapy business, and the physical therapist wanted me to come in to talk about how to incorporate more wholesome food in their lives and calculated exercise. And I got a whole list of questions from them that I'm going to be delving into. I'm going to record it, and then I will also post it up for you on social media so that you can have it. But lots of questions like, should I add daily calories if I work out that day? And if not, why not? Is it better to eat dinner before or after a night workout? Great questions. Somebody wanted to take on a particular bar. What's the latest you should eat before bed? These are wonderful questions. Thoughts on intermittent fasting. Is coconut water a good thing or a bad thing? Should I consume more calories if I'm breastfeeding? What are some healthy protein sources that are plant-based without soy and other than black beans? Oh man, I got a million things to say there, but why not soy? Now, if you have a soy allergy, that's that's something to deal with. If you have a soy sensitivity, we have all kinds of things to talk about there. Are vegan and vegetarian diets healthier than other eating styles that include meat? What nutritional advice is best for increasing energy throughout our day? Do you recommend, again, intermittent fasting, and with what parameters? I love this stuff. So it looks like nobody on the call tonight has a question. I encourage you every week when I post about the call to post your questions there if you are interested. Oh, here's a great question here. To help increase physical activity, what physical activities did you do when you woke up early before everybody else? Oh, wow. Well, okay. So we're talking about calculated exercise. So here's a couple things for you. On YouTube, on the internet, you can find all kinds of people sharing really lovely aspects of exercising. If you are brand new to exercising, I would highly encourage you to reach out to mamageeslifestyle.com, and Samantha B, our exercise professional, would be happy to just have a little complimentary consultation on how you might be able to incorporate exercises at home before the family gets up? I think it's an awesome question, but I will tell you this: when you look, and again, we can delve into this a little bit more in detail with you, but initially, for somebody who has no exercise history, we're looking at body weight. We're looking at things like marching in place. We're looking at a little low impact aerobic exercise. So immediately we can go to the internet and put in these Google searches. We can look on YouTube as well, and you can say beginner aerobic exercise, no equipment at home, and you're going to have, somebody, if not multiple people, provide you with a 15-minute, a 30-minute exercise you can do right in front of your TV. We used to be big fans of P90X back in the day. We used to do it in our hotel room. We would do it when we were on vacation. I would do it with friends right here in my bedroom. My mother-in-law, who was in her 80s, would come over and do it with us. It was really lovely. So there is a multitude of exercises available to you with guidance via the internet, but I highly recommend that you go to our website, again, mamagslifestyle.com, send a message to Samantha B, and she would be thrilled to give you a little bit more direction based on your particular situation at no charge whatsoever, so that we can help drive you towards more movement and more activity and starting to get that calorie burn. So, number one is, simply walking. So walking in place couldn't be more boring. But if you live in an area where you can go to a mall, if you need to stay home though, I know a lot of people in the East have basements. So believe me, I can't even tell you how many people out there own treadmills or bikes, recumbent bikes or upright bikes, who use it as a clothes hanger. And they've potentially never been used, or they're very gently used, and you can find these things incredibly cheap on the multitude of marketplaces that exist in your area, and you could easily pick up a treadmill for $100, $200. All you gotta do is get it to your house, and that could be step one in the middle of winter when everybody's sleeping. But again, utilizing YouTube is a wonderful way to find activities. I will include a few links for you here. Again, if you were to message me on social media or through Mama G's Lifestyle and let me know what your particular situation is in terms of if you're exercising now, what your health looks like, I would be happy to give you some very specific links to help you incorporate exercise before the house wakes up. Lots of good things happen early. I remember when I was raising kids, the last thing I wanted to do was get out of bed because my days were long and busy and packed. But now Mama G, as an empty nester, really enjoys that quiet time in the morning by herself. And I'm very productive at that time. So it all comes down to mindset and what you're willing to do for your health and ultimately to affect the health of the people you love, because you will be role modeling these beautiful behaviors. So I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And you know what Mama G always says, it is not about what you lose, folks. It is all about what you gain. Have a beautiful day.